Wrap up time! Wrap up. I can't believe I did that. I need to get the books. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is the monthly wrap up and big news, I'm also doing a TBR. But first we're gonna do the wrap up and then I'm going to choose 2 books blindly out of my TBR that I've wrapped. This is just a physical TBR that I have. And then I'm gonna do random number generator and I'm gonna pick out only 2. These books are just fun books that I want to read that are on my TBR. I used leftover wrapping paper because I only wrapped like 4 gifts with this paper and then I went home and used my parents' wrapping paper. So I want to get the most out of this shark wrapping paper. It's a little late into January. I would rather have this up earlier, but I wasn't here to have my books and I wanted to showcase my books and hold them up for you. We did our drink of the episode already. I don't know why I'm acting like this is like a podcast. Why am I acting like I'm Sarah Crowley and Destiny Sidwell and Bookmark? Like, this is not the dope, but this is my dope today. I'm back and we're making another one. I dreamed of this drink. I'm gonna cry. In December, I read 10 books. We'll put our jelly cat right there. Oh, look at him! First book I read in December was Throne of Glass. This shows how invested I get into the series later on. Look at these tabs. Just a few, not many, but I honestly really liked this book. I'm gonna give you like a short synopsis of only the first book ever because after this, you get into spoiler territory. This book, we follow Selena Sargarthian, and she is an assassin, basically. And she gets roped into this like tournament type of thing where she's fighting for a spot as the king's champion. And yeah, so she has to compete against a bunch of different people to win the spot as the king's champion. And then we see the people that are involved with her life. This is the first book of Throne of Glass. I honestly really liked it. I feel like because there was something to fight for, like her fighting for the king's champion, this like the plot was like cut and dry. Especially in a first book, you know what you're expecting, but this book is so different from all the other books after you've read all the other books. And I'm sitting here as a person who has finished the series today. Oh yeah, I gave this 4 stars. I liked the cut and dry aspect. I just don't think the writing was like very innovative to me. It was just like she did this. And that's not to say that I didn't love it, because I really did love the characters in here and I love Selena. She is such a powerhouse. She speaks her mind and she does what she wants to do, which is what I love in powerful female main characters. Throne of Glass started it off. Next I read the second book. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. This is the 3rd book in that series that I've read because I already read Assassin's Blade in October. I read Assassin's Blade first and then I went on with the rest of the series. And I recommend that. I recommend it. Next I read Crown of Midnight. Okay, tab update. There's the tabs. Way more. Don't know what happened, but I honestly really loved this story, and I felt like after that tournament thing and like a cut and dry plot where you like there's a beginning and there's an end end goal that we're working towards, this had no end goal that we're working towards. This was just purely vibes of Selena, and that's all I could really ask for. There was a romance plot in here that contrary to popular belief, I really liked it. It like messed with my head going forward with the series. I like this one more than the first one. I gave this one 4.25 stars. I really like the vibes of this story. While it was like very like you go along with it, like there's no like some things get introduced to this world and there's no like world building prior to that. Like you're just given these facts and you're like, okay, that makes sense. I guess it makes sense, and you roll with it for the rest of the series. So this really like sets out the foundation of what like the rest of the series is going toward. Next I read Never by Jessa Hastings. You know my feelings about this if you watch my end of year tag. This book is straight vibes. A lot of gripe I've heard about this book is like you don't know the characters. Like I feel like these characters just act out, but we don't know why they act out. especially because we're in one POV. We don't know the process and like why these characters do what they do, except for only one character, which is Daphne. Other characters like Jameson Hook and Peter Pan. I hate Peter Pan. I will forever say that. I hate Peter Pan. I hate Peter Pan. My brother was listening to like that Ruth B song, like Peter Pan, whatever, and I made him skip it. I was like, I can't listen to this right now. Like, you gotta skip this song because I hate Peter Pan that much that it fizzled out into my like real life. I actually, looking back, I think I'm gonna give this a 3.75. I'm knocking it down 0.5. Like, that is crazy. I don't know why, it just is. This is basically, it follows our main character Daphne, which is the granddaughter of Wendy from the original Peter Pan story. Daphne's family, they're like, all the girls get like taken by Peter Pan when they're like 13ish, and when Daphne was 13, she did not get taken by Peter Pan. When she's 17, she gets taken by Peter Pan. She's about to turn 18, and she gets taken by Peter Pan, and then she lives out her like childhood like mission to being in Neverland. And then there with Daphne, we meet other characters in the story. And yeah, I feel like it's not a big plot. There's no like goal, and it just is Daphne's time in Neverland and how it like spans out and how like her feelings change from certain things and certain events. So yeah. Next book I read is Airfire. And looking back, I could up my rating for Airfire. I think I am gonna give this a 4.5. I think about Airfire a lot. I like reflecting back on the whole series. I loved Airfire. This is where things change and we're like introduced to so many characters. I kid you not, there's so many characters in this book that it like hurt my head when I was reading it, and that's why I didn't think I appreciated it as much as like when I was reading it, because I was so like into the Crown of Midnight plot. But this plot, crazy. We're introduced to so many new characters that become like such massive characters and plot lines in the rest of the series. So you gotta pay attention in this book. This book's like 500. Yeah, this book's like 550 pages. Oh, tab update. I love Airfire. 4.5 stars. I love Airfire. And when I first read it, I was like, I think Airfire and Crown of Midnight are like kind of like tied together. No, this one's way on top. I don't know how to, like, I can't tell you anything that happens in this book. This wrap up is gonna be so short because I've only read the Throne of Glass series. But yeah, this is my third favorite in the Throne of Glass series. Love this book. Next, I read Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I wanted to have a break from the Throne of Glass series. I was like, I'm dead and I just need like a cute fluffy romance. And this is a YA romance. This is her third YA romance. But I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, Betting on You, these two characters meet when they're younger, and then they get reacquainted later on in like the later years of high school. Okay, Charlie and Bailey, they both meet when they're younger on a plane, and then that they meet later on at the same job, and it just follows them becoming friends and then becoming lovers. This is a romance book. You guys know that happens. First, they're strangers. They don't like each other. Then they become co-workers, and then they become friends, and then they become lovers. There's also a fake relationship involved in this story. They meet on a plane because they kind of connect because they're both children of divorce, and so they're like flying back and forth to meet with different parents. And that aspect of the story is very like, it's nice to have something that they connect with that's not like just physical based, and like they like each other and they think they're pretty and stuff like that. That part of the story really takes precedent into them connecting and becoming friends and all that. Charlie, there was like some moments where he was just like so much. I was like, Charlie, just please stop talking a little bit. There's also a trope in here that I physically hate. I don't know why I didn't like think about it, that it wasn't like that, because it's called Betting on You. Oh, also regarding Charlie, like even though he was like childish sometimes and he had like really bad lines and I just didn't care, Bailey was also a brat sometimes. I was like, Bailey, get it together. Like there's no need to feel like this. You're 17 years old, you're grown basically, please get it together. So I didn't like that, but I think their like chemistry and like the banter they had was really nice and I really liked it. And I think Better Than the Movies is still top Lynn Painter. YA Lynn Painter. Actually, maybe it is top Lynn Painter. I don't know. I don't remember her other books. I read the other books. Okay, next I read Queen of Shadows. Oh, you cannot see these tabs because they're like really light. Oh yeah, there. Tab update. Queen of Shadows, I gave 4.75 stars. I docked it down 0.25 because when I was reading this story, I did not like, I thought one area and like some like set POVs and some plot lines were very boring. Like I just didn't care about it too much, and I was just like trucking along for those parts, and there were such long chapters too. Other than that, this is one of the best Throne of Glass books that aren't the last book where like everything like wrapped up together. So this is my second favorite Throne of Glass book. This is so bad because I can't say anything about it, but I am gonna film like a spoiler section of my finishing Throne of Glass vlog. There's like some spoilers, but I'm not gonna spoil the book. You know what I mean? Okay, whatever, you don't care. Next, I read 2 books while on vacation. I read Starling House by Alex E. Haro. I gave this one 3 stars. I watched a TikTok review of this book and it encapsulated exactly how I felt. This book was mid. This book was just mid. Certain aspects could have been more like followed through, but if it wasn't followed through, it was just mid. Like, I don't know how to feel. This book is about, who do we follow? I don't even remember the character's name. Follow Opal and Arthur. Arthur Starling is like the gatekeeper of Starling House, and this book centers around a town with like a mystery and then a sentient house. So the house is like the fantastical element of the story. Opal is drawn to Starling House and Arthur is like the keeper of Starling House. So they cross paths, and then yeah, it's an eerie feeling. Like, it feels like eerie and it's like very gothic vibes. It was just boring to some points and I just didn't care about it. I think some parts would have been more elaborated and then I would have cared a little bit more. Like, I was reading this book and maybe it was because I was in the car reading it, but like I was not encapsulated with like the eeriness of like the surroundings. I wasn't like given like vivid imagery of like the house itself and how like that fantastical magical element like was in the world and how it felt. So I just didn't really care. I felt like character development, there was no character development. I feel like we're given this like plot of like what happens in this town and how the town reacts to it, and so we're like exploring that aspect of the story, but like the characters, nothing happens with these characters, and there's like an ending bit, and so like that's it. Like these characters, I feel like there was like interactions with them, but there was like not to the point where like it's memorable and it like makes me like so excited to like keep reading because I like the characters. You know what I mean? Like, it was very mid in every sense of the word to me. And this is so upsetting because I'm not like the biggest gothic fantasy person, but I really liked Belladonna, which is a YA version of that, which is very different. But I liked Belladonna. I like Two Twisted Crowns. I love that eerie feeling, like eerie horror, like Halloween feeling. And maybe it was because I read this in like dreary December, so. But you guys might like it if you guys like more gothic fantasy. I don't really read that, so maybe it was just like not my like genre to read. I just didn't really get it and I didn't really appreciate what the book was doing. Next, I read The Raven King. This is by Maggie Stivater. This is the 4th book in the Raven Cycle series. Guys, we did it. We finished the series before the year ended. This is the best book out of the series. I gave the first book, The Raven Cycle, 4 stars. I gave The Dream Thieves 3.5, and then I gave Blue Lily Lily Blue 3.75, and then The Raven King 4.25 stars. So this is the highest rated book out of the series. I think the first book is written so well, and then the middle 2, something's lacking in there and I don't know what it is. And then the 4th book, we're like trying to tie up all these loose ends, so I felt like the story was more cohesive, because in the 2nd and 3rd book there was just like unnecessary middle bits, and then the last like 10% of the book stuff went crazy. This one, stuff went crazy throughout like the whole like last 50% of the book, so it was like a little better. It picked up the pace a little bit. There's a twist in the like book, and it's crazy to think about. Like, basically this follows 4 boys and then Blue, and then this like group of people. They're trying to figure out like this magical like ley line like situation of their town, Henrietta. Like, what makes this place magical, what makes the ley lines, and it just follows that. We're also like searching for a magical king. So there's that. Oh, also in this book, we get like a lot of like character moments. We're in this bar and we're following the same characters. You really grow attached to these characters. So like Gangsley, Blue, Noah, Ronan, and Adam. I would recommend the series. I think it's like such a good YA fantasy series. I don't know. I love this, like that era of YA fantasy. These are the last 2 books I read this month. I did the tandem read. So I read Empire Storms. There's tab update. I read Tower of Dawn. These tabs are a little clear. So Empire Storms, I gave it 4 stars, and then Tower of Dawn, I gave 3.25 stars. There was a chunk of this book that was so unnecessary. We had this much information in this thick of a book. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This book, if I did not read this tandemly, I might have DNF'd it. Actually, that's such a lie. I would have trucked along. Please read this tandemly. There's no reason that you would not want to read this tandemly, and I urge you to read this tandemly. that's the biggest takeaway. Graphically, these books take place in different areas. So in one area we follow these characters, and in another area we follow these characters. In this book, one character that I was expecting a lot from did not give, and he hasn't given in like the past like 3 books. So I was really like disappointed with that. But yeah, so with these characters, we're scattered across the whole like area that we're like in, separated for a bunch of this, and that's like, I think that's what like made me not really like this. Also, this took the longest to read, so maybe it like hindered my experience. We didn't find out too much information in this book. You get a sense of these characters and what they like love and what they feel like, and like you just get a sense of the characters. And in this book, it's the same thing. Like we're like world building a whole other area, like a whole like other like continent basically. So we're giving like the history of the continent, like the important figures, new characters, and how these like interact with them. Okay, this continent, like this area and these like people, they're very heavily influenced by the Mongol Empire. And I read like a Mongol Empire book by Jack Weatherford. Since I read that, I have like background knowledge about the Mongol Empire, and the Mongol Empire really like shaped this like area that we're in this book. You can see by the names, the people, and like just like everything about it. So that was really cool, and the history aspect was cool. But that did not like keep my attention too much, especially when there was a POV that I just could not care about. We're introduced to a new character, and it really messed with my head, and it took me a while to keep getting along with this one. But I gave this one 3.25 stars. It is necessary for the book. Read this tandemly, I urge you to, because if you read this and then read this, it's probably worse. When you're reading this tandemly, this happens forefront, and so then you go into this POV and like these POVs, and then they're figuring out this information. So like it's better to read that tandemly. But if you read this whole book and then read this whole book, then you'd be like, oh, what happened in that? Like I have to like recall that something that happened in like page 100. You know what I mean? So read that tandemly. And that is the end of my books. So these are the books that I read this month. Now it's time to choose my 2 books that I'm gonna read from my TBR, that I'm blindly choosing from my TBR. So we have 7 books. Random number generator. I have my random number generator. I have the minimum at 1 and the maximum at 7. I changed this. I'm actually gonna pick 3 of them to read. The first one that we're generating is number 7. Okay, number 7. I know what this one is. Number 4. And then the last one is number 6. I don't remember that one. First one, I know what this one is. It's the smallest one. Number 4 is The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery by Gabrielle Zevin. This is very short. I think I can knock that out in a day. Next is number 6. Do not remember this. I don't remember. Oh God. Oh God. This is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've put off this book for so long. So I just finished a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, so maybe I'll like it. And number 7, I know what it is. It's a chonker. Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. If these aren't in my next wrap up, yell at me in the comments, but I am gonna try to read at least 2 of these in the month of January. So wish me luck, guys. Here is the stack of books that I read in the month of December. To recap, 4 stars, 3.25 stars, 4.75 stars, 4.5 stars, 3.75 stars, 4.25 stars, and 4 stars. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for waiting for this wrap up. This took a long time, and I'm so sorry for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.